The HTC Desire 300 is a surprisingly well-built mid-range device by HTC. It comes with a curvaceous, thin body and with a nicely sized 4.3-inch display. It fits just right in the hand, plus it has a very affordable price. But with all this, are there any compromises that HTC made with this? This is Victor with PhoneArena with a review of the HTC Desire 300, and let's find out. The Desire 300 is a plastic device, but we would not count this against it as it feels every bit as good as plastic can. It's got an elegant, curved and thin body. The back is made out of matte plastic that does not stain easily, so the phone looks as clean as new even after long use. It's all very solidly put together without any squeaking parts and does not feel fragile at all. In a world of 5-inch and larger phones, this comparatively smaller handset feels very comfortable to hold and great to use with one hand. The physical buttons are located on top and on the right side, and we find them clicky, easy to press and to find without even looking. There is a volume rocker on the right and a lock key on top. The handset features a nice and large enough 4.3-inch IPS LCD display with a resolution of 480 by 800 pixels. We're pleased by the vibrant colors that the Desire 300 puts out, especially given its affordable price. The screen has very deep blacks and nice contrast to it. It is not without its slight flaws. It is not among the sharpest ones and colors are a bit on the colder side, but we'd live with it. The screen is not the brightest out there, but it has enough luminance to be readable in broad daylight. Viewing angles are very good and images preserve their natural colors even at more extreme angles. The Desire 300 runs on the somewhat dated Android 4.1.2 Jelly Bean platform with HTC's own Sense 5.0 skin on top. The key feature of the Sense skin are cleaner looks compared to older HTC user interfaces and the BlinkFeed news aggregator that brings together social updates and news in a flipboard-like vertically scrolling list. With charcoal colors, HTC's user interface is more universally appealing than the childish, cartoonish Samsung and LG skins. In terms of actual functionality, it's a mixed bag. We don't like that oft-used functions tend to get buried down in menus, and simple actions like adding a shortcut to your home screen or adjusting the screen brightness are necessarily complicated. On the flip side of things, most core apps like the dialer and messenger look good. HTC's Contacts app allows you to conveniently swipe between tabs. The keyboard is great. After mixed feelings initially, we've come to love it for its large and spacious keys that provide for an awesome typing experience. Performance is where the so far nearly picture-perfect Desire 300 image starts to fall apart. The handset feels underpowered from the get-go. A stutter appears quite often when you navigate around, and some core apps also often lag or take a long time to open. The reason for this lies under the hood. The Desire 300 runs on the most basic Snapdragon S4 chip, the MSM8225. It's a dual-core 1 GHz chip, but unlike most other S4s, it is built on an older and less efficient 45nm technology. It's a chip that became available in the first half of last year, and in late 2013 it definitely feels slow. The fact that the handset packs merely 512 MB of RAM on board does not help either. In terms of graphics, you get Adreno 203, and this will be enough to get less demanding yet still popular games to run. Temple Run 2 for instance and other endless runners would work with a slight stutter but are definitely playable. Another big gripe with this handset is the low amount of storage on board. The Desire 300 comes with 4 GB of internal storage, but the user available space is below 2 GB. That is definitely insufficient. Luckily, storage is expandable and you can add up to 32 GB more via micro SD cards. HTC features both its own browser and Google's mobile Chrome for accessing the web. You can feel a slight stutter in browsing on both, especially when scrolling around, but nothing terrible. The Desire 300 only supports 3G and has no 4G LTE connectivity. It also supports Bluetooth 4.0, Wi-Fi BGN and GPS, but fancy stuff like NFC is missing. The phone features a 5-megapixel autofocus camera on the back and the basic VGA front-facing one. The camera app is quick to start and the interface features large and easy to press separate buttons for image stills and video. There are finer settings to adjust like ISO and white balance, but they are buried deep in hard to reach menus and submenus.
The actual image quality is not something to write home about at all. We've seen worse, but this is definitely below average. The biggest problem with images of the Desire 300 is their sore lack of details. They appear smudgy, mushy, and definitely lack much needed sharpness. If you take the camera indoors, the situation gets worse. Images turn out darker than we'd like, and noise also creeps in noticeably. Pictures are still usable, but not pretty. The Desire 300 shoots video in the quite low 480p pixel resolution. The recorded video looks okay on the phone display, but on a larger screen, the lack of detail becomes apparent. Still footage runs smoothly, and we like the video results more than the still images. The vibrant 4.3-inch screen is great for watching video on the go. The usual HTC Boom Sound front stereo speaker audio magic, however, is not present. Instead, the Desire 300 uses a single loudspeaker positioned on its back that is actually not that loud at all and sounds tinny and a bit hissy. For video, you have Google's great YouTube application on board and the built-in basic HTC video player. We ought to mention that since the display is not an HD one, you cannot watch HD videos in their full glory. We would not consider this a huge downside, but it's one thing to keep in mind. We had no huge issues with call quality on the Desire 300 as it was loud and sufficiently clear in most circumstances. The earpiece is louder than average and you might want to lower down its volume just a bit in regular conditions for better clarity and less hiss. On the other end of the line, callers reported hearing our voice fairly clearly as well, with only slight occasional metallic undertones. The Desire 300 comes with a 1650 mAh battery with above average longevity. Quality talk time on 3G stands at 11 hours and standby is excellent at 26 days. In reality, with lighter use, you'd be able to have the phone last nearly 2 days, which is okay.
The HTC Desire 300 is a really interesting device. We're fascinated with its clean and nice looks and with its design overall, but we're underwhelmed with the camera performance and the overall slow performance of this handset. So after living with this for a few days, we tend to notice more and more the stutters and the slowdown. Now, if you're looking for an alternative on Android, you can take a look at the Samsung Galaxy Core that is around the same price but has a more capable processor inside and runs faster. You can also take a look at the Optimus L7 II by LG that also features a slightly beefier processor and works a slightly bit better. And if you're willing to experiment, you can also go ahead and pay the extra premium and get a similarly sized and similarly well-designed Nokia Lumia 720 that runs on Windows Phone 8. Now, all in all, however, we can definitely see the case for the HTC Desire 300. It's a well-priced handset, not too expensive at all, a very nice price range of around $200 off contract. Now, for a more detailed review, make sure to head to PhoneArena.com, and thanks for watching.